Episode 2 of This Past Week as an Artist.
Woo!
All right, Courtney, what did you get done this past week as an artist? We're going to jump right into this.
Oh.
Yeah. Or do you want me to say? You want me to go?
No, let me go first because I think you got more done than I did.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. Not as much as I thought I did.
Okay.
I felt like I had a better week. And then this morning, I was like, okay, let me actually just like calculate the numbers. And I looked at it and I was like, well, that's pretty pathetic. Are we cursing on this? I don't remember. We can do whatever we want, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. Okay, so I posted 2 sketches.
Not 7.
Not 7, which is really lame. I really thought I did more, but apparently I didn't. And one of them was reposting one this morning, so really it was like 1 hour.
Ooh.
Yeah, pretty lame. Pretty lame. I don't even know what to say.
All right, next thing.
Okay, next thing. I only submitted to 6 things too, which was also really lame. I'm supposed to be doing like at least 10 a day.
Yeah. It was supposed to be like 70.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not in my defense, but I'm just going to
As an excuse.
as an excuse, which isn't a good excuse, but I'm going to give it anyway. There was a bunch that like I needed to like do auditions or this or that on, and
You bailed on.
yeah, I didn't do them. Well, I was gonna maybe do them this morning, and I was like, okay, I gotta like let me do those, and then I was like, oh, you have the microphones because you were on a shoot. Again, it's not a good excuse, but it's an excuse.
Okay.
Anyways, that was super lame. But the good thing that I did accomplish, which again was like not as great as I wanted to, but it was definitely an improvement over many last weeks, was I wrote 7 new pages.
That's good.
So that is good. Now that was like one afternoon.
In like 4 hours.
Because I write really fast. So that's where like the lame part of it. But I have to look at the fact that that was like
7 more pages.
7 more pages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things I wanted just to jump in for a second because that's one of the notes I made because when I was going through what I had done last week was like take the small wins.
Yes.
And you need to acknowledge like the rightness thing, like, and that's like
the right things. Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I totally
I
just
think
scratched my boob on camera. Now I'm just gonna do it more aggressively because I already did it.
Hey, and call it out. You know?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
People are not like, oh.
Yep.
But like, so to go back to what I was saying.
Yes.
Because it's not about your boobs. You don't have an OnlyFans, okay? So, you know.
Should I add that to my...
Start an OnlyFans. No.
Videos of me scratching my
post any content on it, so it won't matter.
Ah! I'm a horrible person. Okay, continue.
But basically, like, because I know so many of our friends who are artists, but also who are not artists, who, you know, we get very down on ourselves, like, oh, man, I didn't get anything done. And it's like, you're looking at the negative rather than the positive.
Right.
Like, that's not to be like, oh, it's okay, I only got this little thing done. But it's like, great, I did get this thing done. That's more than last week. Good.
Yes, if it's more. Definitely acknowledging the things that are more.
And even just that, oh, I did do this. Good. What's the next thing I need to do?
Yeah, exactly. So that was good. And then other things that aren't really like quantities, but they were things that I got done. Like I had new headshots that I edited and posted.
That was very, you spent a decent amount of time on that.
Yeah, between like deciding on the
really
headshots and retouching them, which I did myself. And they look pretty freaking good.
Yeah,
just saying. And I'm not a professional retoucher.
Yeah, really good.
Spent way too long. I had one where my eyes were looking up, and I was trying to Photoshop.
Did you get it to work?
No, it still looked weird, and I tried a number of different ways to basically edit it so I was looking at camera, and it was just like I looked like I was mentally challenged. So that was not gonna work.
All right, so you got the headshots done.
Anyway, so I got those done. I also edited a new reel and got that uploaded. So that was good with all these new recent short films.
Fantastic.
Which I feel like is stronger. And then
this is gonna help you submit.
Exactly. Apparently it didn't this week.
No, that's what I'm saying. You're preparing to submit.
Exactly.
So
yeah,
that you'll have a
preparatory
higher,
steps. Yeah, and
close
then
rate on your submissions.
And then I haven't had Actors Access in a while because most of the stuff is just like stuff that I see as not having an agent or manager was like it's a lot more like unpaid. I don't know. I feel like before when I looked, it was a lot more like unpaid theater gigs and like I'm making this for my real portfolio, and it was all a lot of unpaid stuff, which is fine, but I'm trying to get paid work or like really good things.
Who isn't?
Huh?
Said who isn't?
Exactly. Anyway, but I got it back because enough people yelled at me for the fact that I didn't, and that was like of the different ones to have, that was the one to have, not backstage. Sorry, backstage.
Nice.
So I renewed that, but I haven't uploaded anything. Like I haven't done anything with it, but that should help me submit more.
Yeah. All right. Well, I was on a podcast, on the Uplift podcast. Well, we did an Instagram Live. I'm calling it a podcast, even though it wasn't officially for their podcast. I had 2 really successful meetings with other filmmakers and just networking. Did only 1 photo adventure to the Hollywood Hills, but it was good. Turned out actually, I was pretty happy with the photos. Got to go to a new location that I had never been to, and then released 3 videos. Nice. So similarly, didn't do as much as we'd like. Yeah. But that's definitely... And then one of the things that we did, which I think was very helpful, and I wanted to kind of start with discussing, which was we reviewed kind of our year goals. And we wrote out our February targets. Yes,
which there are a lot of, and I'm a little overwhelmed by. I think I might have too many things in February, but I need to do a lot more. It's not to say that we didn't do other things. Like we do other
there was client work
exactly.
and different things like that.
But in terms of like forwarding like tasks related to the careers that we want to be paying us a lot more money.
Yeah, and that's what this whole podcast is about. Okay, so
next week?
We can go into next week, or we can go into some other fun topics. What do you want to do?
Let's say next week, because then we can just yak about whatever we feel like we want to. Okay, so for next week, 7 sketches. I need to do that. I'm starting that as tomorrow, basically. Okay. Submissions, 50, which is like the bare minimum that I should be doing anyway. And then in terms of pages, I want to do 23 more pages because basically this particular project that's the main bigger writing thing, that doesn't include like writing sketches that I'm going to film. This is like...
For this big...
Exactly.
For this project.
Bigger project. Yeah. So that would basically, which kind of goes into just other things that aren't numbered, that should basically finish episode 1. 23 is an arbitrary. It's based off of doing...
About 40 pages.
Oh, that's more than 30 pages. Wow, I can't do math very well, apparently. I'll stick with 23. Why not? But basically finishing writing episode 1 because I decided initially when I first started this and I wrote like the first 5 pages of this project, it was to be a feature. But being that I want to do TV more than features, I'm like, I should just then make it a miniseries.
Yeah.
A little overwhelmed researching other like limited series or series that are out there, whether they've gone multiple seasons or not, and seeing that like they average about 30 minutes and it's like 10 episodes a season. So I'm like, oh, that's 300 pages versus like 90 to 120. Super cool. So it's a lot more writing, but that'll be really, really good for me.
Yeah.
And then we might do a proof of concept. We might just see if we can sell it as a script. We'll TBD.
One step at a time.
But I basically need to. I want to finish the first episode, and maybe start the second one. But for sure, finish episode 1, and then I also, being that it's now not a movie, I'm like, oh, that's a lot more plot that I have to figure out what I'm going to do with that I had not thought through. So I need to figure out what like that arc of season 1 is going to be, so I know. Arc? What did I say?
Arch.
Oh, that. I know that word. That was a mistake. Thank you for calling me out on it. Arc. What is the...
I mean, they both, they both are similar geometric shapes.
Yeah, exactly.
The story arch.
Yeah. That's what I call it, guys. I don't know what you're doing. I'm just going to roll with it. Exactly. So I'd like to figure out the story arch for season 1. Okay. So yeah, that. And then I want to do a bigger short film that's going to be really good for like exactly what I want on my reel, because the ones we've done are, some of them are, but some of them aren't so much. So I think I know what one I want to do next.
Finish it or just start pre-pro on it?
Start pre-production. Like, have it on the schedule and start pre-production on it. And then...
What are you thinking? Bad Bosses or Bad Boss? Or...
I think Bad Boss.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Nice.
It's more dialogue. But I think it'll be better for me.
It's a character.
Yeah.
It's you've
it's
written yourself
it's a strong
as a great
character
Yeah,
piece.
and it's actual.
Yeah.
Whoa, okay. That's,
Yeah. And the other one's more dramatic for my role.
Yeah.
Anyway.
This is definitely a comedic character, and it's a character.
Exactly.
So
that's the one I'm thinking. So I want to start pre-production and like get that onto the books. And then also with Actors Access. And then also I don't have an IMDb Pro, which is pretty lame. So...
You mean you don't have an IMDb?
I don't have an IMDb.
Just...
Yeah. But don't you have to get Pro to...
No.
See, I don't even know this. It's so pathetic. Basically, if you look me up, I don't exist. So I'm trying to remedy that.
Perfect. Well, 2 short films for me.
Oh, good. I had helped you with 2 short films, but I was going to see what you were going to say.
2 photo adventures.
Okay.
One of the cool things is basically realized that these kind of inspo videos that I had been making the last couple of weeks was actually just a continuation of my Artistic Entrepreneur podcast.
Yeah.
And I didn't even kind of realize that. I put that together last night and started uploading those episodes. So I'll have basically 2 episodes of that. And then with this podcast, essentially, you could say that's 2 films, 2 photo adventures.
3 podcast episodes. Yeah.
We're talking 7 videos, a video a day going out.
Yeah.
Client work. I have some cool meetings coming up, and yeah. That's my. There's some other stuff like which I don't know if it'll be this week, but the website I need to put together some more future stuff. Is I want to finish my Israel zine. It's a low hanging fruit that can kind of get done. It won't be released. But if I can go like, okay, that's pretty much there, and maybe even, we do a Kinko's just proof of it. What?
Does that actually exist?
What?
Kinko's?
Yeah. FedEx owns it, but...
I know. I feel like the word Kinko's, though, is like...
It's still a store that exists.
I don't know. Fact check. Have you seen it written on any signage in the
100%.
last 5 years?
As somebody who goes to Kinko's... You can look it up on Google, and it pops up on on Apple Maps. I'm an Apple Maps guy, not a Google Maps guy. Yeah. So 100%, it does still exist.
Sorry. Sidebar. I just like there to be some comedic dialogue in the podcast. Otherwise, I'm going to be bored.
This is what I have to deal with all the time. It's just these comedic tangents of her being interesting. Yeah. But I think that could be done relatively easily.
Yeah.
Low lift on that, and I think that I haven't really prepped what my next week was. So this is just kind of the stuff I know that needs to get done every week. because this is stuff I need to get done every single week, regardless of the week. This is what I'm doing.
Nice.
But some big February targets. I need to, yeah.
Yeah.
It's less about something
Sweet.
new, and it's more about just doing the same thing. What I'm proud of, though, is that I got up this morning at 5:20 in the morning.
I did not.
And so I'm on 4 hours of sleep. Like a boss.
Yeah.
But I was,
I'm gonna do this, which I saw Steven Tyler did in an SNL sketch instead of this. Wait, no, he does that.
throwing up gang signs. You're getting us demonetized already in episode 2. You're going to get us canceled with gang signs?
That's what I'm here for. My sole purpose for being here.
All right. So one of the meetings I had was with a colleague, a fellow filmmaker. Mm-hmm. And he asked a very interesting question that literally had me stumped. And I took, I think, a solid at least 30 seconds of just silence to answer it. And I'm curious, I want to propose it to you. But basically, he asked, and this is slightly paraphrased because I don't remember exactly what he said, but how long until you stop, until you drop someone and give up on them, and until you stop trying to push a relationship or push that connection, or how long do you give it?
Business or in life?
You can kind of, I think he was asking a little bit more on the business side, but I think I can just kind of open it up because it's something that you and I have both individually and together have dealt with. Wanting to build relationships with people, wanting to build connections, clients that we've wanted to work with. And I think it's just an interesting thing. It was how much are you willing to follow up, but also how much are you willing to invest in someone who might not be reciprocating, or either reciprocating at all because you don't know each other, or it's just a relationship that you can kind of tell is one-sided.
It's a good question. I don't feel like this is something that I've been I struggle with this, or I've so I can't say that I've given it a whole lot of thought or have all this experience to relate to my answer. But of the ones that I can think with, I mean, on a business side in particular, well, I guess for any relationship, but honestly, it really depends on the personality of the person. If I've had a physical phone, if I've heard them communicate and I've had an actual conversation that's not just written, because it's hard to tell tone and
an email or
vibe
text or
and stuff
like
when it's in writing. You can misinterpret good or bad, and people, So I feel if my vibe when I first connect with the person and have that conversation is a little I don't know if we're really gonna vibe here, for whatever reason, if I just don't think that we're oh, you're amazing and I adore you and I'd want to just have coffee and yak with you for no reason, I feel I'm probably in the 3 to 4 times that I'm gonna hit them up without them responding. I've definitely had to where I'll go the extra mile and just call them instead of sending them a text message, which I've had. I think that the ability to do that, I think it's easier for people to send an email and send a text, and if you don't get a response, to give up sooner. Where if you actually just call, then the person's oh my God, thank you for calling me. I've meant to get back to you, or, oh, I never even got your emails or whatever. So it's you can sort of invent reasons why they didn't answer. And if you actually just have the courage to call somebody, which used to be a lot more common and now is weird, unless you know them, unless it's your mom. is I think that goes further, and you can again get like a deeper idea of like, how does this person gauge your relationship? And I think that goes for personal side as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm probably in that like 4-ish times. And even if it's somebody who like a cold outreach and they've never responded to me, like, yeah, I think I'd probably hit them up that many times. I should probably do more, in all honesty. Like, that seems low. But on the reverse side, I've also had people that like they text me and maybe I'm not whether I'm not super close with them or I'm just busy.
Like their vibe.
No, even people that I really like, but I just like it's not like you or my best friend or my sister or something like that like I'm gonna respond faster. Even my sister, sometimes I ghost for a few days. Sorry. Sisters. But
You
anyway.
say sister and you don't know which one it is.
I do it to both.
I'm trying to not call you out on this, but
Okay. Anyway, but on the reverse side, I think it's again like sometimes I need to be
that follow up.
Yeah, like 3-4 times, and then I'm like, oh my god, I've left this text chain unread for a week now. Shit. Yeah. I have to respond. And like I had that the other night where finally they were like hello, or I don't know, whatever they said. And I finally responded. It was like 11 o'clock at night and I was like, I'm just going to send them a text now, even though it's probably too late to be having this conversation. But that was when I had time to respond. But they also followed up with me like 3-4 times. Yeah. It's a long-winded answer. Did that answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. It was just an interesting when he posed it to me because I was like, oh. And I think he was posing a little bit more like you're not getting reciprocated in the relationship as much in terms of like
there's like no response and you're just trying to get an answer.
Yeah, or something like that, or just like how much effort do you put in on a relationship when you're not getting it reciprocated? And
I feel like about that though.
And
like
to
I'm
me,
gonna
I look at like it's like, you know, you got to provide value. It's like if this person is not providing if you're not providing value in that person's life, why is that person gonna want to be? And you know, I say this even about friends, because you look at like even your best friends. They're the reason why they're your best friends is because, in theory, they're providing a lot of value, and that friendship, and that value can literally just be friendship. Is somebody I can vent to, somebody I can go on an adventure with, somebody I can just, you know, yada yada whatever with. But especially if it's a business relationship, it's like there's got to be some value there, whether it's great conversation, whether it is, you know, hey, I help you with this, you help me with that. Like there's got to be an exchange of value.
Yeah.
And I think so many people forget that when they try to build relationships, is they look at what can this person bring to me, rather than all relationships are a two-way street. Yeah.
I mean, it is interesting that it's funny. I mean, we've had this conversation before, and you're always like, value. Like, what value can I bring to this relationship, or what value does this person provide in my life? And it's funny because like until you'd said that, I've never thought about that. But I'm super big on like I really care about the personality of the people that are around me. And like when I've had discussion on, you know, what do you care most about in like a job? And I'm always like, who I work with. Like I could be doing something that's not in the industry that I want to be working in, that doesn't pay as much as I want to, but if I like the people I'm working with, like that goes so far for me. And it could be like the quote unquote on paper, like dream job.
But that's
and
the value they're providing. It's just this,
that's
aspect
the word
of personality.
You use. Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's like a guy-girl thing in terms of.
I mean, that sounds totally, actually, you bring it up and it totally sounds like a guy versus girl thing.
It kind of does, right? Like you're like, what value does this person bring to me? And I'm like, do I like you?
Well, but this, the do I like you is, you know, they're providing, I don't know. You could say it's a more analytical versus emotional way of looking at things.
Am I the emotional one in this case?
Obviously. You're a woman. No, but if you think about it, it's like, oh, do I like
don't know,
them?
You're pretty feminine.
I am well, I'm not feminine. I'm just emotional also. But as well, no, but I think that's a very interesting point, just looking at it very, like, either analytically or very emotionally. And it's like, wow, do I enjoy being, it's like the emotion.
Yeah. There's
What's
sort
the
of like a
emotion that this
gut.
person creates
Yeah.
in my space, in my universe, being around them versus
Yeah.
like, all right, what value, like, but it's this, because I think it's the same thing, but just looking at it from two sides of the coin.
Yeah, totally. So if I really like the person and I just know that they're like a really busy person, but I really like them, and when I see them in person, like when it comes to like friends or even people that maybe I want to work with, if when I do actually like get in front of them and have a conversation, if I know them in person and I really enjoy them, being around them, and they like give me like a really great hug, like more girls, but even guys, like they give me like a really great hug and they really like acknowledge my presence and have a really great conversation with me when I do see them, I feel like I will, like, I could follow up with them till the end of time because I know that they like me and I don't take it personally if then they don't respond.
100%. But that's where I also go, it's like, what's the value you provide to them? You know, that's why it's like, to me, I say it's a two-way street. Is when you're trying to build that relationship, and you can look at it from the emotional side. Do they like you? Do they have the same feeling of admiration, affinity, you know, and wanting to communicate with you as you do with them? Because, you know, there's definitely been people in my life, as you're very aware of, that have wanted to build a relationship with me that I've not wanted to reciprocate that relationship.
Sure.
And then there's been people on the flip side where I've wanted to build relationships with them and friendships with them, and they've not reciprocated it to me.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it's like, do you provide that that value? I mean, we keep talking around the same thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, do you provide that value that each other want? Because it's like, yo, I need somebody who's going to push me. I don't really care about that. I want somebody who I can just, you know, shoot the shit with. You want two different things. All right, well, probably not the right thing to, you know.
Yeah. What was his answer? Did he say? The guy
No,
that posed the question?
I think he was just asking.
Lame.
You ask better questions than I do. I just like to talk, and so I just respond. I don't ask people questions. It's something I have to remind myself constantly.
See, I get where I ask questions, and it's funny. It's kind of on this topic, but on like where I'm first meeting the person, and this is definitely like a pet peeve of mine. I don't know if it is for you. I think it is, but it's definitely a pet peeve of mine, of where like I meet a person and I ask them about themselves, and then they just talk. And they proceed to just talk about themselves and their opinions and blah, blah, blah. And we're having like this 20-minute conversation, sometimes longer, and they proceed to never ask me anything about myself. And I'm like, okay, well, I pretty much know your life story now and your goals for the rest of your life, and you don't know anything about me. And in that case, I'm like, peace out. And I'm like, I'm going to end this conversation, and I don't care to ever have a conversation with you again because you don't reciprocate.
Yeah.
I'm like a wall that you can talk to, and you just want to talk, and I'm like, well, go talk to a freaking cat for all I care. Like, I might as well be an object. Go have a conversation with Alexa. Alexa, ask me a question, and then just talk. It's essentially what I am. Anyway. Okay, should we move on?
Sounds good.
If you're watching this and you did that to me, we're not friends.
That's why she hasn't had a second conversation with you.
That's right. They're not watching this because they don't know my contact info. They didn't ask.
They didn't even ask your name.
They didn't
even ask your name.
Sometimes they don't. No. I think we managed that much. Okay, so I'm gonna pose a question now. Well, one of the things, it's a question / a conversation.
Bring the mic a little closer to your face.
How's this? No.
I don't know, but Jesus Christ, come on.
Sorry, I had a little phlegm. Okay, so one of the things that I realized in looking at what I got done this week is, cause not like I am a bum. I kind of feel like it after looking at what I did last week, and I'm like, what did I do with my week? Like, how is it possible that I didn't get more done? And I think for me, because I quote unquote work for myself, or like we work for ourselves, each other, like we do our own things. If we don't have something that's like set in stone, or we don't have client deadlines that we have to meet, what we do with the rest of our time is sort of like up to us. And sometimes some weeks there's more and some weeks there's less. And I feel like there's the people that are really successful in talking to people that are more successful than I am in the industry of like arts, and particularly in acting and stuff like that. There's definitely a higher degree of discipline and schedule. Like, I don't like putting on makeup every single day. So this stops me from wanting to do auditions every single day, which then stops me from even looking for the things that I would need to audition for, because I don't have someone sending these things to me. And it's sort of a like, I almost need to look at, like, in the same way that one would have to like drive to a job and show up at a time. I'm like, well, I need to like have my hair and makeup done by a particular time each day if I'm actually going to do this and have like really be a professional here. Or, okay, if I like on writing, you know, in the same way that if I was a writer for somebody else, or if I had to write a script for, you know, a job that I was doing, like I'd get it done, however many pages I was supposed to do by the deadline they're supposed to.
If you're writing a sitcom,
exactly,
I gotta turn in my 30 pages by the end of the week.
Right.
Or you're out of a job.
Exactly. So, that's something that I want to improve on, and I'm not spitballing that to just like yak about it. I feel like there's like a genuine like, I mean, I've tried to figure this out with myself.
So one of the things I did this morning,
yeah,
this is the thing that I literally was just handling myself, because the last 3 mornings before this morning,
yeah,
I had set alarms for 6 a.m. to get up, and which is literally like what I had done 2 days ago. I woke up, the alarm went off, turned off the alarm, which is already, I have to get out of bed and walk across the room to turn off the alarm. I then went to the bathroom, then went to the coffee machine in the kitchen, turned the coffee machine on, walked back to the bedroom, went back to sleep.
Oh, so
and I went,
sad.
This is not okay.
Yeah.
This is not acceptable. I have to do something different. I have to change this. And what I did was, I have a buddy who's on the East Coast, Danny, and I called Dan up yesterday and said, Dan, what time do you get ready for work? He says, I'm usually up at like 6:30. I was like, well, I'm not going to call you at 3:30. But tomorrow, what are you doing? He's like, well, I got a call at 8:30 with an investor. Okay. So I'll call you at 8:25. Because it reminds me, I'm not going to go into the whole Steve Harvey story, but there was a small Steve Harvey story about how he became a morning person. When he was unemployed, a person called him a bunch of times and then realized, oh, I have to change my viewpoint about the mornings. So I was like, Dan, I don't care to get into a whole conversation. It's going to be a total of less than 3 minutes. But I'm going to call you in the morning, and you're going to be a little bit of an accountability partner. And I'm going to be like, hey, good morning. How you doing, brother? Great. All right. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah.
And so I was up at 5:25 this morning, and I called him. And so I was up for an hour before I even left the house.
Wow.
Had a cup of coffee, had the whole, the whole nine. By it was 6:30.
Were you productive in that hour?
I didn't particularly get much done. It was, I handled some house stuff and some, just a little bit. But like when I wake up at 8:30 or 9, it's not like I'm particularly productive then either.
Yeah.
Usually on my phone
Sure.
for at least 20 minutes, if not longer, unfortunately. And so, great, I can either spend that time earlier, and then I'm still getting to work by 6:30, rather than 9:30.
So much better.
So good. Yeah, I'm gonna sacrifice some sleep. Well, if I want to sleep more, I gotta be more productive.
Yeah.
I won't be able to watch television at night. I won't be able to play the games in the good.
I like that.
And it just was like a little bit of outside pressure that kept me responsible. But it really was a decision in my universe. Was like, okay, great. What's a little bit of something extra that's going to like, you could say a little bit of be a game, be a this, be a that, like, and maybe it's like a, just an idea to spitball. There's like, do a get ready with me. Like those freaking TikTok videos. And so you're literally doing, but it is in line with what you're doing. So you can, like, how all those girls do on a Get Ready With Me, but maybe it's a character.
Right.
And you're playing this character. All right, like, you have a great character called Nikki. You have a great character, any of your female characters. Or you play a dude character while doing your makeup. And so people are like, what is this person doing? And, then you end up, let's say your Nikki character goes viral for Get Readies With Me, and then everyone's going to think you're like Nikki, but her name is Courtney. If you're, this Nikki is a New Yorker.
Nikki is a New Yorker, and she chews a lot of gum, and she's got really long nails. And here's the thing, she doesn't take no shit from anybody. So if you want to give me some shit, go fuck yourself.
So that's Nikki. So, but my point is, it could be like a whole Stephanie Beatrix thing from, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, where everyone's like, that's not what you sound like.
I don't know if she's New York or New Jersey. I need some input here because I'm not familiar enough with the East Coast. She might be New Jersey.
But that's where it's like, great, I'm going to do my makeup every day, but I'm going to, now you could say killing two birds with one stone, where you're putting out a video every day, minimally, you're putting out 2 videos a day. You're doing a Get Ready With Me, but it's as a character, in a character
it's
space.
It's really good drilling. Like, you have to live in that character for, like the 20 minutes or I don't know, whatever it is.
Yeah, the 30 minutes of doing hair and makeup. And then you're editing it, and then you're posting it.
Or I just do it as a live.
Or you're doing it as an Instagram or TikTok live.
Actually, like, it forces me to just, like, live as the character. It forces me to work on my improv.
Yeah. And just
these are
be
good ideas.
that character.
Yeah.
So just from the makeup standpoint, like, okay, great.
Yeah.
There's, like, how do you solve it creatively? Not like you can either do it by brute force of, put 12 alarm clocks, which if you do that, I will freaking murder you. She actually gotten much better about it. Well, granted, I get up now before you. There was a time where she would just snooze her alarm clock 17 times. Like,
what?
And for like 2 hours. And she wouldn't wake up. I would wake up and be like, hun, your alarm.
I used to consistently either sleep through it or turn it off in my sleep. And that was why I had to set so many, because I'd have times where I thought it didn't go off.
That's why you need a child. That child's just going to force you awake at any time. And then you're that's the thing. I will sleep through a child. You won't.
Will you though? I definitely
100%. Because I'll be like, they don't actually need me. They're just crying. They'll shut up in about 20 minutes.
We're going to see how he actually is as a parent.
So that's like a creative solution for that is
I like that.
Figure out how to kill 2 birds with one stone. Like, one of the things Danny and I do is, we like to speak, kind of the future into existence. We're big on just kind of like putting it out there. And if you don't, believe it, if you don't think about it, if you don't keep putting it there, it won't exist.
Right.
So that was one of the things we did this morning. It was like, great. Good morning, brother. Good morning. All right. You give me one. I'll give you one. Boom. Have a good day. And it just becomes a really simple, easy thing that we can just do.
Yeah. I like it. With that, we should go get some work done.
Yep. All right. Well, that's the episode, and we will see you next week. Get some shit done.
As Steven Tyler does.